welcome to Elements of Ayurveda, Empowering Wisdom of Life. I'm your host, Colette, and in this podcast, I hope to empower you to take charge of your own health by sharing the holistic teachings of Ayurveda, the ancient healing tradition from India. We will also discuss topics like health and wellness, nutrition, yoga, fitness, meditation, breath work, and much more, as well as interviewing lots of inspiring people along the way. My humble wish is to help you to connect to your true nature, to Mother Nature, and to each other. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe to the show, and the new episodes will automatically download for you to enjoy. This show is for you, and so I would really appreciate your feedback. You can also do a ratings and review in the iTunes section. Thanks in advance, and now here's the show. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Elements of Ayurveda. In episode 1, I talked about Ayurveda, the history, the philosophy. It was really an introduction to Ayurveda show. We talked about the reason that Ayurveda is so special and how it can help you. And I also gave you a little introduction to the 5 elements and the 3 doshas. And so in today's show, I'm going to go into detail about the 3 doshas. But before I do, in episode 1, I gave a little bit of homework that was to download my free ebook, my free Intro to Ayurveda ebook on my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. And in the ebook, there is a dosha quiz. So I hope you have done the dosha quiz, and then we can go into today's episode where you have your numbers. And now I'm going to talk in detail about the 3 doshas, and you can try figure out, it's like the stepping stone into Ayurveda, just trying to get a little awareness around the 3 doshas. Now, while the quiz is very general and the description of the doshas are in detail, but it really just gives you a general idea. I do always recommend that you have a consultation with the Ayurvedic expert to really determine in detail about your exact ratio of the doshas in your body. And on that note, each of us has an individual blueprint, an individual amount or percentage of each of the doshas, a different ratio. We each have the doshas of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha in our body. And these doshas arise from the 5 elements. The 5 elements of space, air, fire, water, and earth. And these 5 elements give rise to the 3 doshas. They are the energies governing all the functions in our body. Vata is made up of the space and air elements. Pitta is made up of fire and water elements, and Kapha is made up of earth and water. Now, like I said, we each have a certain amount of those 3 doshas in our body. We may have one that's very dominant, or we may have 2 that are dominant. It depends on your numbers, or we may be tridoshic. But everyone has an individual ratio of each of the 3 doshas. Now, our dosha, or our individual constitution, our mind-body type, you'll hear referred to in different ways, but they all mean the same thing, is determined at conception. So we get our doshas from our parents at conception, and it doesn't change throughout your life. Your dosha stays the same, your constitution stays the same. However, what will happen is your dosha will go in and out of balance for many reasons. This could be due to your age, it could be due to the season we're in, it could be due to your lifestyle, whether you're under a lot of stress, it could be due to the food you're eating. There are a number of factors that can cause your dosha to go in and out of balance. The key is to understand your dosha, to understand the signs of aggravation or imbalance in your dosha, and then know how to bring it back into balance naturally. So today we're going to go into detail on each dosha. I'm going to discuss the characteristics of each dosha, along with the signs of aggravation and what can cause these aggravations in the body. So let's start with the Vata dosha, which is made up, like I said, of space and air elements. And Vata is said to be one that gives energy. It's like the wind in nature. Vata energy is always moving, scattering things around, and it's responsible for all movements and functions of the body and the mind. And this is why Vata is called the king of the three doshas, because it's the moving force behind everything in our body, including the other two doshas of Pitta and Kapha. It's responsible for our breathing, for our speech, the movement through the vocal cords, elimination, the pumping of our heart. It's responsible for our sense of touch, the development and the delivery of the fetus, our menstrual flow. It's responsible for all of the movements in the body and the mind. So it's very important that Vata is in balance. Now let's talk about the characteristics of the Vata dosha. So if a person has a high ratio of the Vata dosha in their constitution, what are the physical characteristics and also the mental characteristics of that person? Well, they will tend to be very tall and thin or small and petite. They tend to have a very small frame. They have a oval face, maybe with small eyes, and the eyes may dart a lot, may move a lot. They tend to have dry skin and like thinner hair. They have a variable metabolism. We talked about how Vata is like the wind in nature, always moving, and it can change a lot. It's very variable, just like the wind. It can blow hard sometimes and other times blow softly. This is very predominant quality in the Vata dosha. There's a lot of variability. And so too is their metabolism. It's very variable, just like their appetite. They may sometimes forget to eat, and they may be very hungry at some stages and can go long periods without eating. And also their sleep pattern is very variable. They tend to suffer from sleep problems, maybe insomnia if they're imbalanced. Now, a Vata person will talk a lot and walk a lot, constantly moving. They're very intuitive, imaginative, and creative, artistic people. So you get a lot of singers and dancers and actors. They would predominantly have more Vata in their constitution, because this is their natural skill set, is to be creative and imaginative. So you got a lot of artists and creative folk there. They are always on the go. They have a hard time sitting still. If they are sitting still, their leg is probably bouncing up and down, or they have some movement going on, maybe tapping a pen off a table or something to try release that Vata energy in their body. And they love to travel. So the more they can move, the better for them. But in saying that, it's not necessarily good. If a Vata person is out of balance, we really need to look at grounding that energy, because excess movement can be a problem. And we'll talk about that in a little moment. Their mind also moves a lot. It's like a busy bee. So a Vata person will have a lot of ideas. But they're very creative, and they'll have a lot of ideas going on in their mind. Now, so a job that would be great for a Vata person, we talk about how Ayurveda gives you information about everything in your life and gives you guidelines for everything. Well, a Vata person's skill set is that creativity and that constant movement and that constant excitement about creating something new. So sales and marketing jobs or creative jobs are great for Vata people, because they'll be very excited about a project, they'll bring in new clients, and then they pass it along to somebody else to do the more detailed work, more like a Pitta or a Kapha person do the more detailed work. So the skill set here is about having that initial excitement and really creating a buzz about something, and then passing it on, because they'll want to be on to the next project. So knowing your skill set is really important in life, so you don't get into a situation where you're in something that is not in flow or in sync with your natural skill set. The Vata people tend to be born worriers. They can often feel anxious and nervous, and this is heightened even more if they're out of balance. Their mind is often in the future. They're always thinking ahead of the next thing. So they're always thinking about what's the next project, what's the next adventure I'm going to go on. They always want something very exciting. And they're motto, if they had a slogan, it would be, can I change my mind? So a Vata person may change their mind last minute. They're constantly being very sporadic about things and find things very exciting, and they'll change plans at the last minute. So that's just a quality of the Vata dosha. And this is something that can help us have compassion for those of us who have difficulty understanding why people change their mind and why they can't stick to a plan. Well, it's just part of their constitution. So part of that, is understanding them and having compassion for that they're not changing plans just to upset you. That is just their way of being. So there are the characteristics of a Vata person. So you can see it's a lot of creativity, it's a lot of movement. There's always a lot going on in a Vata person's life and also in the mind. Now, the qualities of Vata, so the qualities of the dosha, the natural qualities are dry, light, cold, subtle, rough, and mobile. And the reason I'm telling you these qualities is these are very important to understand when it comes to the causes of aggravation. Ayurveda is a very simple principle, and this principle is like increases like and opposites balance. It's a very simple, effective principle, and they use this in healing as well. So in these qualities of dry, light, cold, subtle, rough, and mobile, if we have more of these qualities in our life, for example, if we're living in a dry climate or we're eating dry food, or we have living in a cold climate, or we're having more mobility, too much movement, this will cause Vata to go out of balance, to be aggravated, like increases like. So let's look at some of the causes of aggravation. Well, fall or autumn and early part of winter, which tends to be drier and maybe tends to be more windy. Of course, it depends on where you live. But this can cause aggravation. There tends to be more of a drying when the leaves might fall off the trees. So there tends to be more of a drying in the atmosphere, which causes more drying in the Vata dosha and in the body. And this can tend to cause an imbalance. And also, eating too many dry, light, cold foods will also cause excess dryness. And also cause that lightness in the body too, and that lightness could cause dizziness or tremors. And I'll go more into details on the signs of aggravation in a moment. Let's continue with the causes. Another cause of aggravation could be exposure to cold, whether you're sitting in a drafty room or under an AC unit, air conditioning unit, or it's very windy where you live. That can cause aggravation. So we generally recommend for Vatas to carry a scarf with them, make sure they're covered up wearing layers. Another cause of aggravation could be listening to loud music or bright lights. So if you're working, maybe you're working in a noisy environment, maybe there's music playing, there's lots of people talking, that can be very aggravating for Vata. An erratic work or lifestyle schedule, again, too much mobility is very, very hard for Vata. And also fasting or lack or interrupted sleep. So fasting is not good for Vata. With Vata, more than anything, needs regular meals. So fasting is not the way to go for Vata. That may lead to an imbalance, and a lack or interrupted sleep or out of routine sleeping patterns, so going to bed at different times and waking up at different times. This can cause aggravation. Also, excessive exercise, too much movement. Again, Vata needs more grounding. Stress, fear, anxiety, insecurity, worry, all these things will heighten Vata. Now let's look at the signs of aggravation. So the dry quality, we'll go back to the qualities and we'll look at how these qualities, when they're out of balance, how they appear in the body and the mind. Well, the dry quality will cause dry skin, dry hair, maybe dryness of the eyes, dry stools. It could lead to constipation. It could also lead to bloating and excessive gas. The light quality may cause lightheadedness, so you're getting dizzy a lot, a restless mind. The cold quality, if that's out of balance, you'll have a cold body, maybe cold hands, cold feet, poor circulation, and you may have some muscle spasms as well. Now, the subtle quality, if that's out of balance, it could cause tremors and twitching and tingling and fidgeting and possible depression as well. The rough quality, if that's out of balance, if there's too much rough, and rough comes in the form of things like salads or raw foods. These are what could aggravate the rough quality in the body. But this could cause, if it's out of balance, could cause breaking of the skin, breaking of the lips, on the side of the lips as well. Just a dryness to the skin and a kind of scaliness to the skin. And the mobile quality, if that's out of balance, it can cause a racing and agitated mind. So these are the signs of aggravation in the Vata dosha. Now, again, we want to bring in the opposite qualities. So some quick tips for Vata. The best one is routine. Routine is key for the Vata dosha. And I know it's hard for a Vata person to be in routine because they love spontaneity. They love to do things on the spur of the moment that are exciting and that, brings that level of creativeness and excitement. But routine is actually the best thing for a Vata dosha. Routine in waking and sleeping hours, routine in eating, definitely 3 meals a day. And the meals should be in a calm and quiet environment. You also want to make sure that the food that you're eating contains, first of all, they're cooked. Again, we talked about how raw food is not good for the Vata dosha. So you want cooked meals that are warm, contain good fats, have grounding qualities with sauces and are seasoned, because that will help the digestive fire of Vata. What I mean by grounding qualities is that you should look at the plate of food and it should look heavy. For example, oatmeal or a kind of a stew, something that's root vegetables, something that's going to be nice and heavy for you, pasta, things like that are very good. They're very calming for the Vata dosha. You also want foods that are softer and mushy in texture rather than dry, rich in protein, good fats, and served warm or hot. The big thing to avoid is like dry foods, maybe like popcorn, dry crackers, things like that. Also avoiding, of course, junk and processed foods, and avoiding too much travel or erratic schedules. And if you are traveling, you really need to make sure that you're pacifying the Vata dosha. So there are just some quick tips. Again, when you do a consultation, you'll get an individualized, tailored program to you, because it will depend on your ratios of your constitution, depend on what ratios you have of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Now, talking about Pitta, let's talk about the characteristics of Pitta. Well, first of all, Pitta is made up of fire and water, and it's said to be one that produces heat or anger. So Pitta is like the sun's heat in nature. It gives light, there's an intensity, and it's about transforming things. It's the heat or transformative energy in the body. It's responsible for digestion, for absorption, and for transformation. So now a Pitta characteristics. Well, a Pitta person will be a medium build and have strong muscles. So they usually have good muscle tone. They will tend to have a sharp nose, a long pointy nose, sharp, intense eyes, so they can really penetrate you when they're looking at you. Maybe a sharp chin and possibly a sharp tongue, which means they can be those people who make those biting remarks sometimes. They may have a receding hairline. They tend to go grey early or bald early. They're great speakers. They're very much speaking to the point. You can see from these points here that they tend to be more of a type A person. They're precise. They're goal setters. They're list makers, always on time. They're very focused on a goal, and their mind tends to be like a bull. So if they focus on a goal, they will do everything to complete it. They can be witty, opinionated, and sometimes criticizing of others. They're very critical of others who don't meet up to their standards sometimes. They tend to get irritable because they have all that excess heat in their body, and they get angry quickly. They have a sharp metabolism, and they are always hungry. These Pitta people, if you're high Pitta constitution, you will not forget to eat like the Vata dosha. You need at least your 3 meals a day and possibly snacks in between, because your digestive system is very strong. You've got that Pitta digestive and you burn through your food very fast. Now, if they had a slogan, it would be do it my way or the highway, because Pitta people tend to think they know best. In a job, they are very organized, they're great strategizers, they're great planners. They tend to be managers, CEOs, maybe politicians. They tend to be leaders. So that's their skill set. They could take a job and really plan it out, do the spreadsheets, itemize everything, have a great strategy, organize the people. So they're very much speaking to the point. They won't be your, the fluffy manager who likes to sit and chat. They're very much all about business. So, like I said, understanding the different characters, the different characteristics of each dosha is really important, especially if you're wondering why that boss is so mean, or why, or he or she says, very sharp things to you sometimes that can be very biting, but really it's just their character. It's just that their drive and their competitive edge, wanting to move along, and they don't really have much time to beat around the bush and chit chat. They want to keep moving, especially if they're on a project and it's in the workspace. So let's talk about now the qualities of Pitta. Well, the qualities that come along with the elements of fire and water are oily, sharp, hot, light, acidic, mobile, and liquid. And again, we're remembering the principle, like increases like and opposites balance. So the causes of aggravation, well, summer is going to increase the heat. So summer season is when a Pitta person can go out of balance. Also, eating sour foods. Sour foods would be like yogurts, vinegars, alcohol, cheese would be sour, any fermented foods. They're all sour foods. You can also have some sour fruits. Salty foods, fried foods, and pungent foods can all be aggravating to Pitta. They already have enough heat in the body. They don't need any excess spice, like salsa can be a bit spicy, but you've got all those heavy spices like wasabi and chili, red pepper, all those very spicy condiments or spices can really cause a Pitta person to go aggravated. And if you combine summer and spicy food, that might really send a Pitta person out of balance. Smoking and alcohol as well can really aggravate Pitta. Outdoor activities in the sun, so being outdoors in the middle of the intense heat, the middle of the day in summer, can really aggravate a Pitta person. Having situations where it's stressful or there's anger or irritability or jealousy can cause further aggravation. Excessive competition, and this really comes into play where a Pitta person we now know is very competitive and very driven and goal oriented. So a person high in the Pitta dosha tends to love lots of competition, particularly exercise and doing all the these excessive sports like ultra marathons and Ironmans and really long intense competitions, really wanting to push themselves to the edge. Oftentimes a Pitta person will often think, I'm not working hard until I'm really out of breath and like sweating bullets and just really perspiring a lot. And this can be aggravating. And this is what I did for a lot of years and caused a lot of imbalance in my body when I was doing a lot of competition. And it can affect your body physically and mentally, and we'll go into the signs of aggravation in a moment. And then another cause of aggravation can be intellectual stimulation. So just the intensity of working too hard. Just if you're working on a project or exercising too hard, that can lead to aggravation. Now, the signs of aggravation, we're going to refer back to the qualities. So if the oily quality is too much, if you're taking in too much fried food or there's too much oil in the body, it can lead to nausea, diarrhea, loose stool. So diarrhea is the body basically trying to release heat from the body, or skin blisters. The sharp quality, if that's out of balance, it could lead to mouth ulcers or acid reflux, heartburn, maybe GERD, sharp pain in the body, headaches, maybe migraines. The hot quality, if it's aggravated, can lead to fevers, inflammation, infections. This could be irritable bowel syndrome. It could be IBS. There's so many inflammatory diseases out there, but anything with inflammation tends to be a Pitta aggravation. The light quality, if that's aggravated, can cause dizziness, ringing in the ears, possible vertigo. If the acidic quality is too high, it will cause an acidic smell to the feces, the urine, or the sweat. So that's one way of knowing that there's too much acid in the body. And also it may lead to a yellowing of the skin and also a yellowing in the eyeballs. If the mobile quality is aggravated, this could lead to excess dizziness and vertigo. And then the liquid quality, there'll be excessive perspiration and excessive thirst and possibly more urination. It could also lead to incontinence or just a lot of bladder issues and frequent urination. So the small tips I have today to really keep Pitta in balance is to calm down and cool down, really. If Pitta could learn anything, it would be to take life a little less seriously and to relax a little bit more. Not everything has to be 110%. So a Pitta person really needs to focus on less intensity, less competition, and more enjoyment. So rather than doing all-out sprints on the beach, take your shoes off, walk in the water, chill out a little bit more. More cooling, surrendering, more moderation in things. That's the key for Pitta. It's hard. Just like for every dosha, it's hard for them to bring in the opposite quality because it's not their way of being. But just to know that everything needs to be in balance in life, and that's the simple rule of life, right? Everything in balance. But if we push too much in one area, it's going to hurt us. Just like if we eat too much of one food or too much of one spice, or we do too much of one activity, our body will may get injured. So again, balance and more moderation for Pitta, definitely. Focus on eating cooling foods that are served at room temperature in a calm environment, and favoring things like sweet tastes are very pacifying for Pitta. Also bitter, like the leafy greens, and astringent taste. Astringent is anything that you take into your mouth and it draws the water from your mouth. And that's astringent. Some things could be like lentils, green beans, green apples, pomegranate, leafy green vegetables. All those are astringent. And again, when you go, these are just a few tips today. When you go to an Ayurvedic expert, you'll get a detailed food list of foods to eat just when you're out of balance. It's not about the only food you can ever eat. It's about just when you're out of balance. And on that note, I want to just make a few points there on balance. And in Ayurveda, again, it looks at the more balance across your life. It's all about reading yourself and learning your body and learning the subtle signals of when you're out of balance. And personally, I believe in the 80-20 rule. 80% we're living good, we're consistent with our routines, our daily healthy habits, and our good food. But life, we go off sometimes on vacation, or we go out for a meal, or we have a night out, we go out of routine, enjoy it, eat the dessert, and and enjoy life. And then the important thing is to come back to that 80%, to come back to that routine, so that you don't go out of balance. If you have, a night out once in a while, or you go on vacation, we need to let go. If we're so rigid and strict, and particularly for Pitta tends to be very rigid. If we're too rigid, that can cause stress and imbalance in our body also. So it's all about going with the flow and having flexibility and go enjoy life, but know that 80% of the time we should stay with our daily healthy habits and our good foods. And then 20% of the time we go off track, and we enjoy it when we go off track. There's no guilt. And then we come back on that 80% track again. The key is not to go off track and stay off track for months or years, because that's going to lead to imbalance and then possibly cause illness or disease down the line. So 80-20 It's all about balance, all about flexibility, going with the flow. And that's really the message from Ayurveda, and it's a message I relate to my clients too. Enjoy life, have flexibility, but just have awareness around what serves you and what doesn't, and especially have awareness around the what makes you aggravated and what causes that aggravation. Okay, so that was the Pitta dosha. So then we have one final one, which is the Kapha dosha. Now the Kapha dosha is made up of the elements of water and earth. And Kapha is one that helps to connect. Think of water and earth as like a clay. It's like a building block almost. And Kapha is said to be like the water in nature. And it's really the energy of construction, is the energy of lubrication and nourishment in the body. So I always think of it like a clay brick, that water and earth coming together. It nourishes our cells and organs. It maintains lubrication in the body, like I said, and it develops and strengthens the tissue. It gives strength and stamina. And one of the qualities of Kapha is endurance. So let's look at the Kapha characteristics. A person high in Kapha dosha, they tend to have a rounder figure. They are well built and really a full body. They sometimes tend towards being overweight if they're out of balance, or possibly lead to obesity. They have rounded features. They tend to have a round face, round eyes, round nose. They'll have long, thick hair, really lovely, luxurious hair. They have a loving, nurturing, caring nature. They're the real peacemakers, the Mother Earth figures. They are great with children. They're great carers, great nurses. They have great endurance, like I said a moment ago. The problem with Kapha sometimes is they tend to want to sit around and chat, and they tend to be a little bit more lazy than the other doshas. So it's hard for them to have that spark to get up and moving around. When they do get up and moving, they have great endurance. They can go longer than any of the other doshas, but it's getting that motivation. So they need a Pitta friend to come and motivate them. And then they can go off and do their thing and have great endurance. They have a strong immune system, rarely getting sick. They're great listeners, and they speak very little. Kapha tends to cause weight gain. I talked about that. They tend to be a little lazy, and they really like to follow others. So they're not the leaders. That's just not their character. They tend to sit back and let others lead, and they'll follow, and they'll go with the flow, and they really don't want to cause any hassle. They just want everyone to be happy, and they're very happy-go-lucky. Their mind tends to get a little heavier, though. They might have foggy mind, or they have a hard time learning things at first, but once they have it, they never forget. But it might take them a little longer than the other doshas to learn something. They can become attached very quickly and have a hard time letting go. And this could be to possessions. They might have a lot of things in their house. They may hoard things. And to people, they can get quite possessive of people and have a hard time letting go. And they want everyone to be happy. They're just like, can't we all just get along? And their slogan would be, don't worry, be happy. Now, the job that would suit a Kapha person would be more like account management or client relations. They're really good with client relations, customer service. They'll listen to the clients. They'll be very compassionate. They'll be very nurturing. Account management, they will stay. They're very committed people, so they'll stay in a job or relationship for a long time. And they're very very steady. Overall, they tend to not like a lot of change, so they're happy to stick with one job. Now, the causes of aggravation, well, again, going back to the qualities of Kapha are moist, cold, heavy, static, soft, and liquid. So when there's too much of these qualities in the body, remember, like increases like, Kapha will become imbalanced. And this could cause... the causes would be late winter or spring. The rainy season can also cause aggravation. There's too much moistness, there's too much coldness, too much heaviness. Eating sweet, sour, salty foods, junk food, comfort food, again, that would increase that heavy quality. The cold quality will be increased when there's that cold, again, that winter, rainy season. Another cause of aggravation could be excessive eating and drinking, excessive sleep, or lack of exercise or physical activity. That can also cause aggravation. Now, let's look at the signs of aggravation for the Kapha dosha. Well, the moist quality, if that's aggravated, it could be clammy skin due to too much oil. The cold quality, the aggravation shows up in a cold body, maybe coughs, chest infections, congestion, sinus problems. The seat of cough in the body is in the lungs, so there tends to be a lot of congestion around the lungs or in the sinuses. The heavy quality, when it's out of balance, can lead to obesity, lethargy, weak digestive fire, maybe indigestion. The static quality, when it's imbalanced, could lead to laziness, excessive sleep, or lethargy. Just no get up and go, really having a hard time motivating yourself. The soft quality could cause excessive saliva in the mouth, and the liquid quality could lead to water retention or swelling in the body. So these are the signs of aggravation in Kapha. Now we're going to look at, well, what are some simple tips that Kapha can do to help reduce that? Well, really, it's Kapha needs to focus on more movement and variety in activity during the day. So getting up and moving, exercising daily, and then making sure that you're not sticking to the same routine all the time, really changing it up and making sure that you're doing lots of different activities, because Kapha sometimes sticks with the same old, same old. So it's really about getting up and moving. Waiting until you eat. So making sure that you're not eating out of emotion, that you're eating when you feel the real signs of hunger. So making sure that you allow your body to feel that hunger before eating your next meal, because Kapha tends to have a slow and sluggish digestive system. So we want to make sure that the previous meal is well digested, and how you know that is that you feel hungry. Also making sure that it's not just thirst, that if you feel hungry, have some room temperature water or an herbal tea or something, and then waiting a little while afterwards to see if there was thirst or hunger. Eating smaller, lighter meals with little to no snacking. So a lot of times a Kapha person may not be hungry in the morning. We're so pushed into or told a lot of times that, we must eat breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day. But sometimes a Kapha person, because of their sluggish digestion, is not hungry in the morning. So if you're not hungry, having something like a ginger tea or lemon water with a slice of fresh ginger in there is great for stimulating your appetite. And wait until you are hungry. When you're not hungry, your body's just not ready for that next meal. Eating maybe 2-3 meals a day, but little or no snacking, and definitely not eating in the evenings and avoiding comfort food. Again, favoring astringent taste. So I talked about those a moment ago. With Pitta, anything that you put into your mouth and it dries the mouth out, draws the water from the body. So again, that would be leafy green vegetables, beans, lentils, pomegranates, anything that causes that water to evaporate from the body or the mouth. Bitter greens, leafy green vegetables are great bitters. And pungent taste. Pungent would be, so Kapha can have all the spices. While Pitta has to be very careful with the spices, Kapha can eat the spices good, or add spices to their food as much as they want. They do well with peppers and chilies and cayenne pepper and wasabi and mustard and onions and all that. That's all good for the Kapha person. The bitter qualities would be like green leafy vegetables. I mentioned kale, dandelion, broccoli, sprouts, beets are great. Any of those would be really great. Celery also. So there are some tips for the Kapha dosha. The Kapha dosha also should not have any late night snacking or emotional eating, especially chocolate, ice cream, or cookies, which they tend to sometimes favor, but it really doesn't do them any good. So that's a quick insight into the doshas, and I hope it gives you some awareness around what your dosha is. Again, you have your numbers from completing the dosha quiz in the free Intro to Ayurveda ebook on my website. And so now you have your numbers and you have a little insight into the 3 doshas. But I do recommend investing in a consultation with an Ayurvedic expert so they can really determine your true dosha. They'll ask you a lot more questions about your life, and they'll go into detail about your food, and they'll give you routines and foods that will be suitable for you. And they'll also check if you're in balance or out of balance at this present moment. But it's really about educating you on your body and what are the signs of aggravation that you need to look out for, and where are the areas in your life that you need to make changes. And if you are out of balance, what foods you should eat and what lifestyle changes you should make until you bring your body back into balance. So again, it's just empowering you to take charge of your own health so that you're recognizing those subtle signals of imbalance from your body, and you know exactly what food and lifestyle and routine changes to make to bring it back into balance, and to go forward feeling great and vibrant and have optimal health. Now, if you were interested in doing a consultation, I offer consultations online, so you can do them by phone or Skype or FaceTime. I do offer a free 30-minute online consultation. So before investing, I understand, you're investing in consultation. You want to get a feel for who you're working with. So I do offer a free 30-minute consultation. And from my website, I have a questionnaire on there that you can fill out, and we'll schedule a free 30-minute consult, and we'll have a chit chat, and then from there, if you want to go forward, we can schedule a consultation. But there's lots of Ayurvedic experts out there. If you feel a call to do a consultation with myself, you can go to my website, elementshealingandwellbeing.com. I'll put a link in the show notes also, and we can set up the free 30-minute online consultation, so I can work with anyone around the world, and then we'll take it from there and see if you wish to continue and invest in the full consultation and see what the requirements are for you going forward then. Okay, everybody, so that's the intro to the doshas. Thank you for tuning in. If you feel this information would be helpful to friends or family, please share it. If you like the content, you can rate and review it on iTunes. If you have feedback for me, I'm still a newbie at podcasting. If you have any feedback, I really welcome it, because I'm trying to provide you with the best information and the best quality information also. So your feedback is always appreciated. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen, and I look forward to connecting with you soon again. Take care and be well.